Hi guys, and welcome back to History Help for You. Today we're going to be talking about Elizabeth I's later foreign policy, that being her relationships with Spain and the Netherlands. So for the first about 10 years it was kind of cordial. Philip II was technically Elizabeth's brother-in-law after marrying Mary I. However, he then tried to make a move on her. That's a bit strange, you know. He was her sister's husband, and now he's trying to make a move on her. Bit dodgy, mate. Spain also controlled the Netherlands at this time. And the Netherlands was really important because of the sort of impact on English trade. There was also quite a bit of a religious divide between England and Spain, more particularly Elizabeth and Philip. Philip was a staunch Catholic, Elizabeth was a Protestant. And also, when the Dutch were revolting, the sort of suppression of that actually threatened English trade. From 68, the Spanish treasure ships were being seized and looted by English merchants and privateers. You also had the Northern Rebellion, 1569, and that was kind of hoping for Spanish support. This would later come in the Rodolphi Plot of 71, following Elizabeth I's excommunication from by the Pope after sort of treatment of the Catholics. The Netherlands was also really important because predominantly at the time the Netherlands and the Dutch were Protestant and were rebelling against Catholic Spain. Obviously, the Netherlands as well was quite a big economic economic trading hub, with Antwerp being your sort of main aspect to that. And when the Duke of Alva blockaded Antwerp, it really annoyed England because it was messing with their commerce. Before 1584, there was some money sort of sent over to the Dutch, but not really much was done. This was until 1585 under the Treaty of Nonsuch. This was after the Treaty of Joinville, which we'll look at later, which kind of made this treaty necessary. So in 1585, the Earl of Leicester, that being Robert Dudley, was sent over to the Netherlands with an army of about 6,000 to 7,000 people. And also some money was sent over, about 140,000. And yeah, there was also some sort of involvement by Sir Francis Drake as well. He was also, more importantly, involved in the sort of privateering. When he circumnavigated the globe, and he came back and he'd looted a bunch of Spanish treasure galleon ships, and so he was now minted, and he gave a lot of it to Elizabeth to fund more, and now she was a bit more minted, and Spain was a bit less minted, to put it simply. Despite France and Spain completely hating each other, they did end up allying, that being the Catholic League in France and just Philip II of Spain, in the Treaty of Joinville in 1584. This was the main thing that caused the Treaty of Nonsuch in 1585, because it was kind of seen at the time that if France and Spain were ever to ally as two Catholic superpowers, it was the end for Protestantism, especially for Elizabeth, and now also the Netherlands. They believed that Elizabeth was a heretic, and despite hating each other, they hated Protestantism a bit more because they were very Catholic. So this is just a bit of a breakdown of the Treaty of Nonsuch and kind of the steps that we got there. This is kind of like our road to the Armada. You've got the execution of Mary Queen of Scots. When I did it in the last video, I spoke about how rebellions and plots were kind of interlinked with foreign policy. This is because the execution of Mary Queen of Scots was a big sort of foreign policy thing, in the sense that it was kind of one of the main pushing factors for the actual Armada, because Mary was a Catholic, quite a devout Catholic, and also because it was an anointed queen being killed off. and Philip was not very happy about that. Also, Francis Drake was able to raid Cadiz, destroy Spanish fleet supplies and ships, and so the initial armada was delayed. It was then set sailed in July 1588. The original plan was to invade England. This did not happen. And because of English tactics, the wind, and a lot of other stuff, mainly the shocking British weather, we technically won the Armada, but not really. So the sort of plan for the Spanish was to join the Duke of Parma and cross the Channel, whereas the English didn't really have a plan. I mean, one of the sort of things about the Armada was that they were kind of very sort of fixed positions and like wanted to keep in shape. That was how they were most effective. Whereas the English had a lot more fast, more maneuverable galleons, and could move a lot faster, like a lot easier. Because of how small they are, they can turn a lot easier. Whereas the galleons, absolutely massive. And yeah, one of the good things about the English ships was the fact they had such a long range of their cannons. And as we will see now, there's quite a few reasons for the English victory. I'd say the most realistic, I should explain my sort of idea. So you had the English galleons, they were a lot faster and more manoeuvrable compared to the absolutely massive the Spanish ships. The long range guns meant that we could cripple Spanish ships from afar, meaning that they'd have to be coming directly at us to actually do something, which would probably make it easier to hit them. Fire ships as well. Pretty much what they did, they got an abandoned ship, set it on fire, and sent it straight towards the formation of the Armada. You've seen someone on fire, you're gonna panic, and it then broke the formation of the Armada. And the thing that I love the most, the great British weather, or great English weather, shall I say, that being, well, I guess you could say the Protestant wind, or like the wind of God, or whatever. It was shocking winds. Essentially chucked a bunch of the Spanish ships into your jagged coasts and rocks, and yeah, it was a bit of a fluke, if I'm honest. You'd have Spain trying to attack England for the rest of the time of being on Elizabeth. Under Elizabeth, they're just constantly going at it. However, this whole war with Spain, as with all wars, very expensive, at £3.5 million. And yeah, as we'll learn about when we do society and economy, you have a lot of poor harvests near the end, and then also we'll be looking at sort of rebellions in Ireland and the Essex Rebellion sort of like later on, just to see how sort of the Spanish were able to try and take advantage of this. Spain tried using Ireland as kind of like a launch pad to attack England. This didn't really work, but yeah, and then tried aiding the Irish against the English. But yeah, Elizabeth's sort of kind of initial ideas of trying to avoid war and helping out where she could kind of went out the window as soon as the Treaty of Joinville and the Spanish and French allied. You've got your two biggest superpowers, in Europe, and they're looking at you. You're gonna have to do something about it, not just send some money over. The English naval supremacy was not great at the time. Obviously, it improved quite a lot in the sense, the English had naval supremacy for quite a while, but the Armada, I'd say, was probably because of the weather and was a bit of a fluke, if you ask me. But Spain do keep trying to be a thorn in the English side, and essentially pursuing England until about 1604. obviously after Elizabeth, to the start of James the Sixth first. So that is it for this one, guys. I think we're about halfway through the content. I think, just like going thematically. But yeah, I shall see you guys in the next video.